Chapter 3, Towards a Sustainable Future. Before we begin, India is endowed with a good percentage of forest cover. In fact, forest areas in many parts of India are frequently visited by tourists from India and abroad. In the last few decades, wild animals have been hunted down at an alarming pace, resulting in a great reduction in their number. If the current rate of hunting and poaching continues, it would become very difficult to find a wild animal in the vast stretches of bare forests. Read the account of two documentary filmmakers who venture into thick forests of northeast India and record their experience. In a forest in the northeast, Deb set down his backpack of cane and bamboo at the base of the tree.
Barefoot, clasped the trunk with his arms and legs, and climbed up to about 9 meters high.
Swiftly he slid across a thick horizontal branch and extracted a dead, red-bellied squirrel from the handmade trap he had set much earlier. Dave slid down the tree and was on the ground in less than 30 seconds. Birane took the squirrel, turned it over, and then placed it in his backpack. As we continued along the path, slipping and slittering across leaf litters, our compassions pointed out other traps on the way. Cameras in hand, we unsteadily crossed gushing streams on bridges made of a single tree trunk. Suraj mimicked the sounds of a barking deer fawn in distress, hoping to lure its mother. Dense forests crowded around us, making it impossible to see further than a few meters ahead. Our pace was much slower than we hoped. We continued to film the three young men and walked until evening before settling down at a clearing. Our Naishi companions brewed black tea and we sat around a small fire. As I gazed into the flames, I recalled how our sojourn in the Northeast began. In 2002, we filmed a very first rehabilitation of two Himalayan black bear cubs, orphaned by hunting in the Pake Tiger Reserve in Arunachal Pradesh. But sadly, we knew that even with a successful relocation attempt,
Nothing stopped the bears from being hunted down again as adults.
hunting is common in all the seven northeastern states of India: Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Tripura, Manipur, Meghalaya, and Mizoram. Deb, Birane, and Suraj are from one of the Naishi tribes, who have been hunting in these forests for generations.
The animal they hunt provide food and bones, furs and feathers for decoration and rituals during most festivals.
Over the years, these tribals realized that the demand for the animals and birds they hunted was growing steadily. Hornbills, barbets, civets, squirrels, and many more rare species were making their appearance as dead meat at village markets with prices ranging from rupees 500 to 5,000. A barking deer was sold for 6,000 rupees. But wild meat in the markets could only mean one thing: that forest after forest was going silent. There was a strange and empty sky where the wild birds used to fly. The next victim could very well be the forest itself. Now, our main goal was to document the extent of hunting and to determine whether there was any hope for the future of wildlife in the Northeast. In the process, we spent time with several tribes, including the Apatanis, Chakisang, and Naishis, and other tribes. We attended many of their festivals. We witnessed the traditional uses of animal parts: monkeys' furs, cats' claws, skins of bears and other animals, and the beaks of hornbill. On one occasion, while filming in a village, we came across a young boy who had just returned with a monkey kill. He wanted to use the fur to make a new case for his dao, which is a dagger. His reasons were simple. He was attending, and it was a matter of prestige. It would be much better than the other boys' daggers cases. In Chizami village, Nagaland, the interviews we did with different generations of hunters revealed some interesting facts about the decline in the wildlife here. The other hunters had intimate knowledge of the animals, their habitat, their food, even their smell. They could identify the animals from the photographs very easily. The younger hunters had much less information on the animals, and the teenage boys had seen hardly any mammals. This was enough to make them realize that hunting had reached crisis proportions. In January 2007, the tribal people of Ranchi village had arrived at a consensus. A self imposed ban on hunting for 3 years was the only way to reverse the situation. Earlier, in Konoma, Nagaland, the youth had taken it upon themselves to ban hunting as their forests were almost silent. Incredibly, they managed to sustain the ban for 10 years to revive the wildlife population and set up infrastructure for ecotourism. Many of the hunters spoke to us. They were willing to be wildlife guides if they were given a chance to make a livelihood. In Manas, Assam, there is already a successful example where exposures have turned into forest guides, putting their intimate knowledge of the forest and its denizens to far better use. A powerful example of change. These are first steps, but positive ones, towards a more sustainable future. They have proved that protecting and preserving our forests and all creatures, great and small, is not a spectator sport.